So again, I'm continuing with the story. If you're not good with SI and religious trauma, this is not for you. Um, so I'm not going to talk about the college years unless you all ask because it's long and involved and it's very dark. But I met my now ex-wife at that university. We were just best friends. We were best friends for 3 years before we even got romantically involved together. But they said that they could sense there was something wrong with our friendship at the university. They accused me of witchcraft. In my family, have you lost your mind? They said I was bedeviling people, that I was creating spells, that I was doing demon worship. I came from a white supremacist death cult that was waiting on the rapture and terrified to say the word sex, terrified of it. But I'm sitting in there like with a cauldron, toiling, boiling, trouble, and muddles and hamlets and all the rest of the small shit. They honestly believed I was spell casting and hurting other students. I was meek and I was terrified. I had severe panic disorder like I do now. And they forced me. They said that they could tell that I was gay from the way I acted. So I was pushed into gay rehab through the university. But I'll be happy to tell those stories aside from this. But if I die tomorrow, I want the story that I want to tell most told. So, eventually the university, said that they knew that I was using demonic powers to hurt students, so they kicked me out, and I was forced to go home. Which I had a nervous breakdown, because I had failed. I did so well at my small university, and then I go to this university where everyone was insane, just insane. And I remember I called my grandmother one night and I said, you might have to come up here, because they were only an hour away in Branson, and I said, you have to come up here and help me with these people. Like they're breaking into my room at 5 in the morning, yanking me out of bed, screaming at me that I'm going to hell. I've got the campus lawyer locking me in his office, threatening me with all of these civil charges that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison and all this other stuff for witchcraft and stuff. And I said, you have to help me. You know I'm not this person. And I'll never forget my grandmother saying, I can't testify for you because I don't know you anymore. You don't know me anymore, bitch. I've been here a month. I've been here 2 months. I've been here 3 months. But she said, I don't know if you wouldn't hurt somebody. I said, do you really think I practice witchcraft and shit? Ooga booga, you think I do ooga booga up here and hurt other students? And she said, I can't. I don't think I know you well anymore. So when I was released, I went to stay with my possible dad. Now his property that he lives at, the house isn't insulated and it's way out in the country. And he had me stay in what he calls the tower, which is on one side of the house. And I did that. I've lost time because, again, they told me, look, they took all my disability every month that I was out there. And they're like, you can never contact anyone from the family. No more cell phone, even though I was paying for it. So they were going to manage my money for me. And they're like, and don't take your brother's food because he has a family and you can stand to lose some weight out there. But don't call us, don't come home. So basically, I tried to drug myself to death out there several times because he was gone all during the day. His wife was gone all during the day. There was nothing for me. There was nothing for me. I knew I was going to die alone, and I really honestly thought I would never see my now ex-wife again because we were best friends, we were besties. And I know he tried to take care of me. I know I know he did. but way out there in the middle of the dark, and you've got no insulation, and you're out there in the woods. And I'm out there in a place called the Tower. And at night, I would turn the light off, and I was way upstairs, and this is not a finished house. And I would turn the lights out, and he had a storage system in the walls up there. And I would turn the light off, and I could feel the rats. The rats would come out of the walls, and they would run across the bed. Oh. And I was so scared because I figured they're going to kill me this time. This time I thought my grandparents were really going to arrange to kill me because they'd cut me off from everybody. I didn't have a cell phone. They were taking all of my money to pay the school. Supposedly, they never paid the school. And I was alone. And it was too far to run anywhere because he lives way out in the country. And every night he would come home and try to talk to me, and I'm just dead because I'm like, I've lost my best friend. And I lost my only chance for college. And by the way, his wife hates me. So it's when are you gonna get that thing up there to go get a job and everything else? And I'm like, I'm not staying in Texas. Mom and Dad are living in Branson. I'm going to school up there. I'll go to Missouri State up there if I have to. I know I'm not smart enough. I know I don't have anything, but I'll go to school up there. I'm not staying in Texas. And I remember my grandfather said, you can come back to my home, but you are going to follow new rules from now on. And these rules, compared to the ones that I had when I was a child, were nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I remember my possible dad trying to negotiate with him like, she's an adult. She's 18. You have to let, she can only work where you say she can work. We live way out here. There's nowhere for her to work. And you're going to tell me she can't wear what she wants to wear. You have to approve of her wardrobe and everything. She's an adult. So she made a mistake. And my only mistake was being myself. I never hurt anyone. I never conjured anything. Nothing. And it was, horrible because I thought I'm never going to be free of these people. And they were so angry at me. And I said, I'm gotta get back to Missouri because I knew if I got back there, I know I would eventually find my best friend. And now I felt responsible for her because apparently my witchcraft and shit got her kicked out as well. Apparently, like they said, your daughter is bedeviled and bewitched, so we need to pull her out of the university as well, bring her family home from Russia, and do family realignment, which is where they lock you in rooms and do forced counseling for trauma. So she blamed me for ruining her chance at college. She blamed me for pulling her parents out of Russia to come back here. And I was like, I've got to get back to her because I have to make up for this. I have to be away from my parents. I have to find my own self. And now I've got a best friend. And best friends are forever, man. Your best friends are supposed to be with you forever and ever. So now I felt responsible for her. And I knew she'd go back to Missouri. And I said, I've got to get back to Missouri because that's where Betty and Duck will be. So we eventually did go back to Missouri, and we did live together. We've lived together for 17 years. And my grandparents continuously made everything so much worse. And it was a nightmare because now I was ruining my life. I was ruining hers. But I'm going to skip ahead to spring break when I was 21. Because that's when all of the real shit, the real truth, hit the fan. And that's the story I want told before I die. That's the one I want you to know. So buckle up.